Where exactly does the mind reside? Does it live in the neural centers behind the eyeballs? Or is it hidden in some undiscovered corner? In this episode, we take you into the most brilliant logical offensive and defensive battles of the Shurangama Sutra. When the Venerable Ananda proposes that the mind is hidden within the sense organs, or that seeing darkness when closing the eyes is seeing the internal, how does the Buddha dismantle these views with his sublime eloquence? Part E. Prequel Ananda as losing streak and reflection. In the previous episode, we heard two fascinating exchanges between the Buddha and Ananda. Ananda first claimed the mind was inside the body, to which the Buddha responded, if your mind is inside a room, how could it fail to see the internal organs within that room, yet manage to see the groves and gardens outside? Ananda quickly changed his tune, saying the mind was outside the body. But the Buddha countered, if the mind is outside, then the body and mind would be disconnected. It would be like me eating a meal while you fail to feel full. If the mind is separate, how could it know what your eyes are seeing? These two failures left Ananda restless. He realized that our habitual concepts fall apart when faced with the Buddha's piercing logic. But Ananda, known as foremost in hearing, has a very quick mind. Since the mind is neither inside nor outside, where could it be hiding? He suddenly thought of a clever explanation, which is our theme for today. Is the mind hidden behind the eyes? This view actually aligns well with modern intuition. We often feel that consciousness resides in the neural centers behind our eyes, looking out through the windows of the eyeballs. It sounds quite scientific, right? But the Buddha dismantled this idea using the analogy of glasses. Part R. The third debate is the mind watcher hidden behind the eyes. Ananda said to the Buddha, Word-honored one, I have it. Since the mind cannot see the internal organs, it is not inside the body. Yet because it clearly sees the outside, it is not separated from the physical form. I speculate that this perceiving mind is actually hidden within the organ, that is, tucked behind the eyes. To help the Buddha understand, Ananda used a vivid analogy. He said it is like a person placing a crystal ball representing ancient transparent glasses over their eyes. Although there is a transparent layer, it does not obstruct the vision. Why can't we see the internal organs? Because the mind is behind the eyes. It can only look forward, not backward. Why can we see the outside? Because the eyes are like transparent crystal glasses. The mind looks through them and discriminates everything clearly as it sees. This sounds logically airtight, doesn't it? But the Buddha asked one simple question that led Ananda into a dead end. The Buddha as reflection logic. Can you see the glasses? The Buddha asked Ananda, you say the mind is hidden behind the eyes, just as eyes are covered by crystal glasses. Tell me, can a person wearing crystal glasses to view mountains and rivers see the glasses in front of them? Ananda answered honestly, Word-honored one, a person wearing glasses can certainly see the glasses. The Buddha immediately pointed to the core of the problem. Since one can see the glasses while viewing the scenery, if your mind is hidden behind your eyes to view the world, why does your mind not see your eyes? Ananda's dilemma. This was a fatal logical blow. The Buddha continued, Scenario 1. If your mind could see your eyes, then your eyes would become external scenery, and they would no longer be your organ of perception. This does not match reality. Scenario 1. If your mind cannot see your eyes, then how can you claim the mind is hidden behind the eyes, looking through them like crystal glasses, sharing from the heart? Here, the master explains a deeper layer to us. The Buddha was telling Ananda, if the eye and mind are integrated, you cannot say the mind is behind the eye. If the eye and mind are separate, how could you see through the eyes at all? Thus, Ananda's attempt to locate the mind through geographical position failed again. Part 3. The fourth debate is seeing darkness the same as seeing the internal. Despite repeated defeats, Ananda did not give up. This time he came up with an even more interesting cave theory. Ananda said, Word-honored one, I've thought of it again. The internal organs are hidden inside the body, while the apertures like the eyes, ears, nose, and tongue lead to the outside, where things are hidden within. It is dark. Where there are apertures leading out, it is bright. He explained proudly now, facing the Buddha. I open my eyes and see light, which is called seeing the outside. When I close my eyes and see pitch blackness, That darkness is the scene inside the body, which is called seeing the internal. Is this explanation correct? Ananda's point was, the mind truly sees the internal, but because the internal is so dark, what it sees is simply blackness. The Buddha then displayed his incomparable eloquence, breaking Ananda's darkness into two levels of discussion. Is the darkness in front of the eyes or inside the eyes? The Buddha asked, Ananda, when you close your eyes and see darkness, is this dark state facing your eyes, or not facing them? If the darkness is facing the eyes, the Buddha said, if the darkness is in front of your eyes, like a black cloth covering you, then it is on the outside. How can it be called the internal? If that were the case, when you enter a dark room without light, would all the darkness in that room be your internal organs? If the mind can look back internal facing, why can't it see the face? Ananda might argue, this darkness isn't the darkness outside, it is the mind turning around to look back, seeing the darkness inside the body. The Buddha then said, fine. If your mind can stop looking out and look back instead to see the darkness inside while your eyes are closed, then when you open your eyes, your mind should also be able to look back and see your own face. Ananda was stunned. Indeed, we can see the scenery with open eyes, but we cannot see our own countenances. The seeing the face chain reaction. The Buddha continued his deduction with a touch of humor. Ananda, if you truly could see your own face when you open your eyes, we would have a big problem. First, your mind and eyes would have to be floating in mid-air to look back at your face. Since the mind would be in the void, it would no longer be part of your body. Does that mean because I am looking at your face now, I have also become your body? Furthermore, if your eyes are in the void looking at you, then your eyes would have perception, but your physical body should have no sensation at all. If you insist that both the body and the eyes in the void have sensation, then you would have two perceptions. When you attain Buddhahood in the future, you alone would have to become two Buddhas. Ananda was left speechless. He finally understood how absurd it was to call seeing darkness the same as seeing the internal. Part 4. Deep analysis embodying the false as the true. In the dialogue just now, the master mentioned a core concept, the soul of this sutra, embodying the false as the true. Why did the Buddha spend so much effort refuting Ananda? Was it to prove he was smarter? No, the master tells us that the origin of this sutra was to treat fundamental afflictions like lust. The initial gateway to cultivation is to find that essence. What is the gateway? Ananda asked the Buddha for the initial gateway through which the Buddhas of the 10 directions attain the Bodhi. The master said this path is actually nature, self-nature. But our current problem is mistaking the false for the true, treating the illusory dream world before us as real, which leads to various attachments and suffering. Appearing according to the mind, responding to karma, and changing via consciousness. The mountains, rivers, earth, men, women, young, and old we see are like images on a 3D screen. Nature is the screen. It can display everything, yet it remains untainted. Karma is the script. Why do you see this specific environment? It is because your karmic conditions, karma, have summoned this phenomenon. The master said, where there is an attachment to the pearl, there the water flows. Nature has no fixed location. It manifests everywhere. Whatever consciousness you establish, that is the karmic fruit that appears. The key to transforming consciousness into wisdom. This is the gate of cultivation. When you understand that everything before you appears according to the mind, responds to karma, and changes via consciousness, you won't dare to speak or act recklessly. If you want the rewards of the Pure Land, you create the karma of the Pure Land. If you want to become a Buddha, you transform consciousness into wisdom. We may know this theory now, but we haven't entered the gate yet. The process of entering is to realize that the false is actually the manifestation of the true. Like watching a movie, you know the fire on the screen is fake, but the light from the screen displaying the fire is real. Part 4. Conclusion and interaction. Today's sharing may be a bit winding, but that is the charm of the Shurangama Sutra. The Buddha is like a skilled surgeon, peeling back Ananda's and our false assumptions about the self layer by layer. Ananda thought the mind was hidden behind the eyes or that darkness was the internal. But the Buddha told him, the mind is not attached to a location. The next time you close your eyes and feel a sense of pitch blackness, don't forget to ask yourself, does the thing that can perceive the blackness have a shape? Does it have a location? Is it truly locked inside your skull? Thank you for listening to Australia's Buddhist Path Association podcast channel. We will see you next time.